Morning, everyone. I just reset the audio interface, so hopefully we've got clean audio starting off this week and not that weird duck fart robot audio that we've been having a few times. If there's anyone in the chat that can let me know if the audio is coming through clean, then we will go ahead and start the stream. All right, have a sip of coffee as we get started. And thanks for joining me. If you're catching this on the replay, thanks for joining me. Hopefully the audio is coming through clean, but I don't see anyone in the chat letting me know. So maybe I'll see if I can find this stream on my channel using the phone just to make sure that the audio is coming through clean because we've had some issues the last couple of weeks with that. All right. Yep, looks like the audio is coming through clean. Fantastic. And let's get started. All right, if you're catching this on the replay, thanks for joining me. And if you've been enjoying my content, please hit that like button because it really helps out the channel by helping YouTube's algorithms to share the stream to more viewers. All right. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be working on the sort of happy vibe track that we started building in the Akai Force 2 weeks ago. I'll put, there's actually a link to that stream in the description of this video if you want to get caught up with how we started building the groove that we're going to be working on today. And I'll also put like a link up here on this video to that stream as well. What we're going to do first is we're going to just take a listen to what we've created so far. And then I've got a few ideas for stuff that we can add to this today. I'm going to be looking for some ideas from the chat as well. So if you've got some suggestions, please feel free to drop those in the chat as we are working today. I'm going to go ahead and just play for you what the groove that we've created, sounds like so far. And here we go. Right. Hey, what's happening, Tovolution? Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to go ahead and play through the groove that we've created one more time for people who are tuning in late. There we go. right, let me just check in with the chat real fast. Hey, what's happening? We got Supaju in the chat. Hey, Mark, thanks for tuning in. All right, let's just take a moment. Let me explain a few of the ideas that I've got for this track today. The first thing I did was I searched through my collection of samples on my computer, on my hard drive, and I found some drum rolls, some drum fills that sound really cool. And I think we're going to add those to the session today. I've also gone through some of the presets that I've got in my Virus Darkstar here today. Let me tilt the camera down so you can see that a little bit. And we're going to be checking a few of these out and potentially sampling them into the Force today through the Erica Synths Acid Box 3 filter. I've currently got the Darkstar all MIDI'd up to the Force so that it's receiving tempo from the Force. We're also potentially going to be sampling a few vocal samples out of the iPad today, out of the Blocks Wave app. The thing is that the track that we're working in is in the key of D major. For those of you who've been following my channel for some time, you know that I really like to write in minor keys, specifically F minor is my favorite key to write in, which is one of the reasons why we're going to keep pushing forward with this track today, because it's a little bit out of my typical sounding, wheelhouse of tracks that I write. So when I tried to add some vocals, rather, and go back to what I was saying, from the Blocks Wave app on the iPad, that app rather only tunes to the minor key. So I was able to tune those vocals, but only to the key of D minor. So most of the vocals in that app weren't something that we could slot in with this project. But if you think about it conceptually, a vocalist can only sing one note at a time. A vocalist can't sing an actual, major chord or a minor chord. So I scrolled through so many hundreds of vocal samples in that app, and I found a few that actually might slot into this project today. And we're going to get the iPad out in just a little while, and I'm going to play those for you guys, and we're going to see if we want to use any of those in the project. Again, I'm going to be asking, the chat along the way, like, should we use this? Do you like this sound? All of that stuff. We're going to be kind of trying to do a collaborative session today. And so on that, point, if you've got suggestions for what we should try to do today, please drop those in the chat and maybe we'll get to that. Okay. The first thing that we're going to do today is I think we're going to go ahead and try to go ahead and load these drum loops that I've got here on this USB stick into our project. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll over and we're going to add a brand new track here. I'm going to add another drum track, and if we go to the note mode on that, let's see here. I believe I can go like, let's see. Yeah, cool. We just want to go to places and find that thumb drive, and it's here, so we can grab those fills. Okay, I'm going to play for you these samples. So just really basic sounding drum fills, okay? And I'm going to load the first one onto the first pad in this new bank, and then I'm going to load the second one onto the second pad in this new bank. Now they're currently already set up timing wise, so that if you start the sample on the downbeat of a measure, that the drum fill itself fills in. Let me show you what I'm talking about actually. If I go to the sample edit screen, and yeah, we can see here that there's like silence before each of those drum fills. That allows me to just trigger them in the project super easy, because all I need to do is just trigger them on the downbeat. I don't need to worry. If I had it, say at the start, lined up with the very start of the fill, then we have to like align that in the grid, at a certain point. Whereas doing it this way, the way that I brought them over from Ableton, it's just really easy. Now that we've imported these though, let's go ahead and save our project at this time. And then also, let me go back to the menu and eject this SD stick here so that we don't have that sticking out of the back the whole session. Okay, Now, let's go ahead and see if we can get one of these drum loops into the session right off the jump. If I go back to, let's see, our matrix and our launch, we have a couple of sections where that might be appropriate. Let me go ahead and take a listen. Now, that's what we're going to be doing today. This is detail work today. We've already done, a lot of the fun stuff, just pulling stuff together and getting a groove started. And that's often, what we do on this channel is we start things from scratch. I don't often, take it to this next step where we continue fleshing out and continue building on these. As a sound designer, I'm often just designing single sounds in here or like a single groove. I'm doing that a whole lot more than I'm writing finished music. So for me, the process of actually writing, a finished track and creating, finished music gets a little bit progressively harder as we keep working on the track. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to revisit this today so we can just keep grinding it out. But I just want to let you know right off the jump that we're going to be doing, that's how, we move forward and add all these details, is we do a lot of listening and re-listening and re-listening. And after listening to the same track for like another couple of hours, it's probably going to get a little bit tedious. And this is how I work. So we're going to take a listen to some of these spots where I might be able to slot this drum fill in and see if we can get it in. This is all experimentation at this point. Here we go. I think it might be, I'm going to turn the volume on our groove down just a little bit as well, so I'm not yelling over it the whole time. Yeah, okay, so we don't have a fill on that section, but I don't really think that we need to either because it goes into our next groove here, which is still really smooth. Yeah, we're not really changing that much. We're introducing that lead for the first time. And let's see here. If I hit the next groove, yeah, this would be a good place for a drum fill. The thing is that we've already programmed a drum roll at the end of this particular groove. There's a, let's see, on our tops track here, we've programmed our own snare roll in the first session here. So we're not going to use it then in that scene per se. And let me check out the scene underneath that. Yeah, we don't really have a break there. All right, I think maybe what we'll try to do then is try to put it at the end of this scene. What I think I want to do is I think I kind of want to, build up this first section of the track. And then we've now, on this scene here, we've introduced that new arpeggio sound, and we're really starting to roll. So I think what we're going to do is maybe put it at the end of this pattern, transitioning into the next pattern. I just want to decide what that next pattern is going to be based on before I do that. Let me see here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that whole scene of clips down to the scene underneath where I'm going to attempt to put that drum roll. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to launch mode here. I'm going to go ahead and delete the flute lead from this section. And I think we're going to delete the pad from this section as well. And let's see what that would sound like. I'm trying to create like some space here for us to add something, new in this scene here. I'm not sure whether we're going to want to keep that arpeggio going or not. Let's see if we copy that down. What does that sound like? I think we may or may not, but we're going to leave it really empty, I think, here, just so we have a empty pattern to work with after I, hear what that drum loop sounds like, if we can get it into the pattern previous. So I'm going to play the pattern previous, and let's see what we can do here. Got our track for the drums, drum loops here. Label that. got two, and then what is that, a 1? Yeah, that's the 1 that leads this. I'm talking to myself here as I think about the arrangement, pardon me. Okay, so we've got 2, and then it breaks, and we've got that 2. Yeah, so I think, yeah, definitely just going to make a rest here at the end of this pattern. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a space for this drum fill to fit in, because currently at the end of this pattern, just the regular drums are still just banging away. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back some of those to put space in the mix to allow me room to put that drum fill. We're going to go ahead and let's see here. Oops, what's that about? Stop that. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, actually, there we go. That's what I want to do. Okay, so on the, let's see here, on the kick track. Fantastic. So now we've got a pause there on the kick. It's already got a pause on the kick. Fantastic. So over here then on the, yeah, we've got a pause there. All right, this is what, the bass. So is there already a spot for me to put it in? Let's find out. I'm gonna, on the drum fills track, I'm gonna go ahead and put in a clip here by double tapping. We're gonna go clip, make sure this is an 8-bar clip. It is. And then all I need to do is just put that first drum fill or the second drum fill. We'll test both of them out and see which one we like better. To put that on the very last measure here, and I'm gonna just sort of fill that in so that I can visually see that it's taking up, that much time. And all I need to do now is just play the groove, and we should hear that drum fill now come in at the end, and I can decide whether, if it fits, whether we want to try the other drum groove, all of that kind of stuff. So here we go. That sounds actually not that bad. Let's go ahead and try the other one and see what that sounds like. I'm going to just bring that to trigger the other sample instead. I'm also going to go in the mixer, and we're going to put an EQ on this drum fill track real fast here. The Air Para EQ, and we're going to do what I always do. We're just going to go to the second page here, and we're going to make sure that there's no, super duper low frequencies that might be hanging out in there. We're going to remove those if there are. I'm also going to bring this track down in the mix a tiny little bit, and we're going to send it a tiny little bit as well to the effects sends that we set up in the other session, which was just a reverb send and a delay send, just so I can get the fill into the sort of acoustic space of the session a little bit. All right, let's listen to that again. Now this is going to be playing the other drum fill, so we can decide which one we like better. I think I like the first drum loop that we heard a little bit better here. So I'm just going to select this one and bring it down to that first one again. Now I'm just going to hear it in the mix a few more times so that I can try to make sure that the level is okay on that drum fill. We definitely want to bring it down in the mix a little. And we're going to bring it down in the mix some more. what we need. It just hit me. It just occurred to me. What we need here to allow space in the groove for our drum fill to kind of, jump out and alert the listener that we are about to change into something different. I think what we need is we need a rest on our arpeggio pattern that's just going away in the background, like full blast. What I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and open up this pattern here so we can get a look at our arpeggio. And what we're going to do is we're just going to create a little bit of a rest. And I don't know whether we want to do a full bar rest or not. I think we do is the thing, to really create room in the mix for that, drum fill. We're going to do a little pause, then a little sort of roll into the next section. We're going to go ahead and go shift, and we're going to go delete, deleting those last few notes of that arpeggio on measure 8 here. Let's see what that sounds like. We're going to go back and hear this. All right. Yeah. In that same, concept of making space for this drum fill, I think I'm going to go into this lead pattern here and maybe make a little more space at the end of that as well. Yeah. I'm going to delete those 2 notes there to create a little bit more space for that drum roll to, undo. For that drum roll to existence. Make sure there's nothing hiding out up there. Okay, good deal. Let me keep playing this. No, that was too many. Dun, 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 dun. I still want to have one more note. Of that arpeggio, of the lead sound rather. Let me see if I can fix that. Might be this here. That G. No, I want it to be over a little. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and save at this time and make sure we don't lose anything. I'm a chronic oversaver, and I encourage you all to be chronic oversavers as well. I think most of you watching probably know that already. What we're going to do, let me just keep focusing on that space that we've got in the mix and make sure I don't want to, fine-tune any of the other parts for that drum roll to come in. Hey, what's happening, Original Sin? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, fantastic. That drum roll is sounding a lot more like what I had in mind now. I think what we're going to do next is go ahead and sample another riser sound that I've located in the Virus Darkstar. I'm just going to go into the menu. We're going to go into the sampler screen. And let's see here. I've got quite a few presets that I've kind of selected out of the Virus that sort of might slot in with what we're working on today. We're going to check some of those out. The first of which is this riser sound here. Now, again, I've already got the tempo of the Akai Force coming into the Access Virus here through MIDI, so we're already synced up there. And I just want to sample this riser sound. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of play the groove in the background so I can kind of gauge exactly how long I want to hold that sample down for. I'm just going to, let's see here. I'm just going to arm the sampler to start recording. It's recording a stereo sample on inputs 1 and 2. I'm going to go ahead and just play the groove here. 1, 2, 3, and 1. 2, 2, 3, and all right. Now now we've got that riser sampled. I'm going to call this 2-bar riser dash virus, dash virus 1. That way I can, remind myself where that riser came from if I'm ever looking, at the details of the samples of this session. We're going to go ahead and keep. All right, now we've got that in the session. And what I want to do, I think, is just put that, I think we already have like a track for effects in here. Yes, we do. So if I go to note mode on that effects track, I can pick an empty pad and I can go edit. Then where it says sample none, I can just scroll this and find the sample that we just recorded. Was that 2-bar riser? There we go. And we're going to want to edit this sample actually. So let's go to the menu and let's go to, where is that? Sample edit. And then we just need to get in and start trimming this out. So it's just, on the very start of the sample. We're going to go process and discard, start chopping off some of the air. I want to make that recording a little bit louder as well. So I love this part of the Akai Force and also the MPC Live. We've got all the editing tools in here to do whatever we need to do with the samples for editing wise, like right in the box. If I want to change the volume, I just go to gain change. I can bring it up like 5 decibels, for example, make it a little louder. Let's make it just a tiny bit louder. Cool. So it's a nice, big, strong level there. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. And let's get the start of this sample right in on the actual start of the sample, right about there. Fantastic. And let's go process and discard. That's going to chop off the space between the start point and end point so we can, truncate the sample down to a shorter sample. Let's go ahead and save at this time as well. Fantastic. So there's our riser sound. What I want to do is I want to go, edit and hit that pad again so that I can get to the effects page just for this one pad. I'm going to send this a little bit very gently to like a 10 to our inbuilt reverb and our inbuilt delay. That way it kind of gets itself inside of the acoustic space of the track, that we're working on. And you guessed it, we're going to put a parametric EQ on just this sound alone. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to just make sure that there's no, low frequency content on this particular riser. Oh, I don't know, beneath about 300. We'll just shave that off. Fantastic. It might be a little loud in the mix. We'll get that seated in a minute. I'm also going to pan it maybe like 6 to the left to sort of give it its own, space in the stereo field so it's not competing for that, exact center spot. And let's save again at this time. Fantastic. What I want to do is now we've got that riser in the mix. I don't think there's like the most appropriate spot for it to go yet. Maybe we'll put it at the end of the scene that we're about to start working on. Let's see here. I want to take a look at my notes and see if I can't remember. Oh, right. I wanted to show this to you guys because I feel silly for not knowing about it until pretty much just yesterday. We can set the Akai Force, to a scale, and then any note that we play on the pads, will adhere to that scale, so you can't hit like a wrong note. But what I didn't know is they also have a harmonic mode that does that same type of thing for chords. And if you didn't know about that, I just want to take a really quick moment and show that to you guys real fast here. I'm just going to load another plugin track. We're going to go shift and clip to get to the plugin itself. And what I'm going to do is maybe actually bring this down in the mix a tiny little bit so it's not like super loud. Shift and clip to get back to the plugin. And we're just going to like double click on these presets and maybe go to like a I don't know, pad, warm, fantastic, right? So, and then if I go to note mode, okay, so maybe not that pad, actually. Yeah, this will work. This is just a really straightforward, plucky pad. And it's just playing notes. Nope, it's playing chords. Okay, hold on. I think that's because of what I'm trying to show you already. Yeah, it is. Okay, so here's the thing, right? is let me actually it's already set to our scale, D pentatonic major. I just want to let's see here. Starts on root. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. This is all good. So currently, no. Root, no, pentatonic major. What am I doing wrong here? Starts on root. Oh, because I'm in chromatic. Oh, silly. Um, what I need to be in is scales. Starts on root. Okay, fantastic. So by default, here's our scales mode, right? And it's just one note. Super cool. So you can play in key even if you don't know how to play in key, right? And that's the type scales up here. But if we change that, we get another mode. And I feel like an absolute tool for not knowing about this until about yesterday. And this is the harmonize mode. It's a scale mode where it's going to play chords that are stuck to the scale that we're working in. Currently, we're getting a 1-3-5 mode. And any note, that I hold, it's going to, choose the closest notes that are in key. So we can full on play chords and keep those in key. We can actually change the mode as well. 1-3-5, 1-4-5. We can add like a 7 at the end and make minor 7th chords. But the thing is that any note we hit here is still going to, force these chords that we're creating to be in key with the project. All right. I think this is a really fantastic way to get some chords into the mix, and we might be exploring this earlier. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys know that is there. I know they have like an actual chord mode inside of the box where there's like some predefined, chord progressions, but I don't typically, mess with those because they're already predefined chord progressions. So when I found that one, I thought this is probably, a pretty useful thing. Let me just go ahead and take a moment and check in with the chat real fast. Hey, a shortcut to save is Shift and Save, one less step. Original Synth hooking me up with that. So if I just go Shift and Save, boom. Oh, Original Synth, that's awesome, and I really appreciate that tip. Thank you very much. All right. Hope we get a new synth. Yeah, I actually, I'm guessing that we're probably going to get those synths that they put inside the MPC. What was it like? It's like I can't remember what it is now. Like a string machine or something like that. I would imagine we're going to see those in the Force in the next update. It's just a guess, but I mean, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't put them in there. It's pretty much the same operating system through all of the Akai boxes. So I think it's probably just a matter of time. People who had the MPC Live didn't think they were going to get the hype synth for the longest time, but then, there it is inside there now. So I would imagine we'll probably see all of that stuff from the updates of the MPC in the Force in the next update. I mean, I'm just hoping like the rest of us. But I don't see any reason why not, to be honest with you. All right. Okay, so we might check out that chords mode a little further to try to get some pads in the session. In fact, we're sort of working on this scene here, which is an empty scene. Basically, I mean, melodically at this time, it might be a good option to try to like get some pads in this section. But I think before we work on adding like a new pad type of thing to this section, I think a variation of the bass line might be really appropriate because it's been pretty much that same bass line almost the whole way. So what let's do for that, let's see here, is let's go into note mode on the bass line. I think I want to go an octave down. That doesn't count. Okay. I know there's a way, I just can't remember it right this second. What is it? Shift and note. Can I do? No, it's not there. Oh, yeah, it is. Octave 0. Just want to get that one beneath the root note, maybe. Cool. All right, so let me see here. What I think I'd like to do is go ahead and take a look at our bass line here. Maybe we'll just, whoops, sorry about that. Maybe we'll just select all of these notes, whoops, in here, and go shift and delete, and just delete all of those notes. Let's see here. Yeah, fantastic. All right, so I'm going to try to put in like a variation of the, bass pattern here. And that might work. Let's find out. Record, make sure we're armed, and make sure we're recording. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. All right, and then 3. Let's do it. Bum, bum, ba, bum. All right, so we've got a variation of the bass line to keep the listener, a little bit more interested. We've been banging away on that same bass line for quite a long time, so I think it's time to change it up for sure. All right. We just take 1 second and check in with the, hey, what's happening? Chovarsi. And thanks for joining up with Dean Synth Squad. Hey, everyone in the chat, just so you know, if you haven't been made aware of that, I'm not exactly sure how to say that. If you're enjoying my content and you'd like to support the channel and you'd like to do so on YouTube, right beneath this video was a place where a little button where you can sign up for Dean's Synth Squad. And it's a great way to support the channel, especially if you're not into that Patreon type of thing. Very much appreciated. Hey, thanks very much, Trovarsi. Right on. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a roll now from our, previous pattern into this new pattern, which has a new bass line. What we can maybe do here is now take a moment and maybe see if we can create some sort of chords to come in at this time over our new bass part. And what we could maybe do is, let's see here, I've added this plugin here so we could explore that chord mode. Let me go ahead and put a clip in on that plugin so that we actually have something to work with here. By default is put in an 8-bar plugin. I'm going to go shift and save at this, wait, hold on. I'm going to go shift and save at this time. And we're going to save the project. All right. And then let's just scroll around through some presets in the Hype Synth and see if any of those pad sounds might gel with what we're creating here. All right. Let's go shift and clip to bring up the Hype Synth here. Okay, so remember how I was explaining that now we're playing chords and you can't hit a wrong note though. Oh, here we go. Come on. All right, hold on. Let's get this in. Let's launch this clip and get everything going at the same time. Whoops. Here, rather. I see. Whoops. I've actually put that clip on the wrong spot that I created. So what we're going to do is, let's see, we're going to go back to launch mode here. I'm going to go copy and paste so I can get that clip in the scene where I actually need it. And then I'll just delete it from the one where I don't. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to get to this plugin synthesizer again with shift and clip. Fantastic. And I'm going to go back to note mode here. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's put a pad in at this time. Let me make sure that the track I want to record on is armed for recording, and it is. It's going to put us into record mode here, and now we are recording to this clip. I can see it saying overdub here. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. And let's put the pad in. Have to adjust some of those notes. Yeah, we're going to adjust some of those notes now, see if I can't fix that. I actually think that the second half of that pattern I played, pretty spot on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, let's see, select everything in the first half. We're going to go Shift and Delete. Fantastic. Now I'm just going to grab everything from that second half. And what is it? Shift and duplicate. Fantastic. Now I can just nudge all that stuff back over to the left using the knob here. And if I'm not mistaken, that has given us this 8-bar clip that I put in. Now, for those of you who aren't super versed with music theory like me, I've got, a good memory, and I've been at this for a long time, so I've kind of, memorized the scale of F minor, and I can play around in that pretty well. But when it comes to the other scales and just knowing, how to play in every single key, like off the top of my head, I kind of have some difficulty there. So this harmonic mode in the Force that allows us to get, these pads in that are in key, this is something that's really, really beneficial to me personally. I spend a lot of my time, programming beats and making sounds from scratch. I didn't spend as much time learning music theory. So this is really, really helpful. All right. Let's see here. Right. I just want to, I think at this time, play these two patterns back to back and make sure that everything is sounding okay as we introduce this new pad. We haven't done anything with that new pad, in fact, in the mixer. Let me go ahead and, you guessed it, we're going to add a parametric EQ on that pad. Every single track in every single mix, it's going to get its own EQ. That's how I work. We're going to make sure that there's no super, low frequencies that maybe we can't hear hanging out at the bottom of that pad. And that's all we're going to do for that for now. Now we're just going to hear the transition between, I get a little bit confused when there's, more than 8 clips on the screen, but they've put in a navigate feature which allows us to kind of get a global overview of what we're working with, and we can see that what we see on the screen is just within this box here, so I can change where that box is in our session as we keep building it. Go back to Matrix here. All right, so we're going to listen to, our scene before, which has the drum roll that we put in a moment ago, and it's going to, launch into this scene where we've added a pad. I'm just going to listen for the level of the pad and how we're sounding overall. Hey, Supajou. Big ups to Supajou joining up for Dean's Synth Squad. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate the support, you guys. Thank you. Wow, that was way too dramatic. That was like it's like changing into a completely different vibe. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to figure out now whether we like that pad sound so much that we really want to keep it. And if that's the case, then I'll need to figure out like how to create a transition that somehow doesn't seem quite so jarring, like we're driving and then suddenly we just took a left turn and we're off on a completely different journey, I really like the way that pad sounds is the thing. I mean, this is, I'm feeling like I could build some groovy stuff on top of this. All right, let me do this. Let me ask the chat. What do you guys think? Do you like the way that this pad sounds? Or should I maybe try to find a different sound? Because if we like this pad, then I'll work on the transition between the last pattern and the new pattern. But if we're not 100% happy with the pad, then I can try to find a different sound that may, slot into the mix a little better. What do you guys think about this pad sound? Yeah, maybe a transition, but keeping the pad. Okay, fantastic. Let's see if we can make that happen. Let's just go ahead and go shift and save at this time. What am I doing wrong? Shift and save. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Let me listen to the pattern previous and see if maybe we can drop something out. Okay, let me actually do this rather. When I find that a transition isn't, really working or maybe sounds a little jarring and not, quite right, like we were just talking about, the things that I will try to do to make that sound a little bit more natural is either take away some stuff before that transition comes in, like maybe make a more of a pause for the listener's sort of brain to clear for that 1 or 2 milliseconds, before the new part comes in. So I either try to take stuff away before that new transition, or sometimes I try to build stuff up a lot bigger so that when that transition happens, it just feels more natural. I think what we're going to approach first is the taking away idea and see if I can just remove some stuff so that that transition feels a little easier. Let's find out if we can make that happen. I'm going to listen to this groove here. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I really like that pad and I want to keep the pad, but I think that maybe the pad itself being introduced right after those other melodic elements are playing is just a little bit too much. So what I'm going to try to do at this time is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go copy this whole scene down into the next row. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the pad sound from the very first instance of this scene so that maybe we can maybe, I don't know, like keep one more sound going but fade it out, or I don't know. We're going to figure that out. But this gives us that empty scene again with no pad, which obviously we're not going to have much of a, an issue going into that from the roll. Let's find out. Yeah, but see, the baseline changes here is the thing. Okay, now I'm starting to think maybe what we'll do let's see here. Maybe we'll go ahead and not change the baseline just yet. So maybe we'll, let's see here. Maybe we'll copy this one into that one. Did I do that right? No. Okay, where am I here? Copy. I want to copy this pattern into this one here. Why isn't that working today? That's odd. I just want to, that's really odd. Because the lighting in here is really odd when I have so much lights on for the live stream. And sometimes, yeah, there we go. Sometimes I'm grabbing the wrong thing entirely, and that's what just happened there. Okay, so let's try that again on the correct track and go copy and paste. Yeah, fantastic. So now I've kept the original baseline for this transition. And then, so between these two patterns, we've got now a baseline change and the pad coming in. So let me listen to that in context. This is what I meant actually by, how things get a lot more tedious on like the second and third session as we start building. It's a lot of just listening to that same pattern over and over. Hey, does this work? Hey, does that work? It's a lot of that. Does this work? It's a lot of trial and error. In the beginning stages of putting something together, it's all just trial. There's really no error because we're just putting it all together and having a good time. But when we try to start fleshing it out, into an arranged track, there's a whole lot of that experimentation. Does this work? Yes or no, and if it doesn't, then we start, deciding what to do about that. So I really feel that, the difficulty level increases progressively as we continue building these tracks out. Okay, let's see here. Right, so I want to listen to this transition rather between that roll and this new pattern and see what we can put in here to sort of ease the listener into that new pad. See, like if we had a vocal sample, this would be a great opportunity to bring that into the listener as well. Okay, so maybe this is the opportunity rather to, let's see here, to change the drums, to keep the drums more chilled. Sometimes I get lost in the arrangement when I'm working in this way, when I'm not like seeing it all, out on the screen like we do in something like Ableton. I haven't gotten into using the arrangement mode in the Force yet, and that is definitely something that I need to take the time and start trying to figure out because I think it will really help me to see it, that way as I'm, trying to create these patterns sometimes. Let's see here. Yeah, so what if we that might be interesting. Yeah, what if we take our tops loop here? Again, our tops is like hats, rides, clap, anything other than the kick drum. So what if we take that pattern and we're on that now? And what if we, let's see, how long is this pattern here? This is just a very short pattern. This is like a 2-bar pattern. What is that? Yeah, 2-bar clip. So if I want to make this longer. So if I go shift and double, now it's a 4-bar clip. And if I go shift and double, now it's an 8-bar clip. And it just copies those notes out for us. That's what I'm looking for. And I think what might be neat is if we were to like drop these tops out for the first 4 bars of this section to make the kick be the only thing that we're hearing just for a moment. I'm going to start deleting some of these drums here. Shift and delete. Shift and get right in on those last drums and delete. Fantastic. And let me see if I can go back to yeah, cool. Let me see what this transition sounds like. Again, there should be no... Right. Okay, cool. Maybe we want to make it really stark and remove this. Maybe we want to remove this crash so it's just really tight with no crash. And we really bring it down. Let's find out what that sounds like. That's sort of a transition from our pattern with the drum fill into now this really minimal pattern. Yeah, okay. I think what we want to do is just really drop it then. I'm feeling like we want the kick to stop here and everything. Let's see. If I highlight the kick pattern and I go in here and right, it's only for 4 though. Okay, cool. Let's double this pattern as well so that I can mess with the arrangement like I was doing with the tops. Let's go shift and double length to 8-bar pattern. Okay, fantastic. What I'd like to do is I'd like to delete this kick. Other than that first kick, I'm just going to delete this for the first half of this pattern. Stick with me. I think I'm getting something going for us that will work. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll test this out. Okay, we're going to go back to the matrix and we're going to launch from the drum roll into this really minimal clip here. I definitely want the crash to come back then since we're really dropping it down. So I'm going to copy that back in. Yeah, fantastic. And let me hear this in context now. But before we do, let's go shift and save. Fantastic. Oh, whoops, I didn't get us in context. Here we go. Absolutely. Okay, I have an idea now. What I think I would, and this is probably going to take some time, and maybe I'm going to regret this on a live stream. But what I'd like to do, and this is really what the songwriting process is all about, being willing to experiment, being willing to put in the hours, being willing to take the time to try things. If it doesn't work, so what? I mean, not everything is going to work, but this might, and it might be awesome. What I'd like to try to do is I would like to try to route, oh my goodness, I'd like to try to route our new pad sound out of the external outputs of the Force into this Acid Box 3 mixer that I've, not mixer rather, into this Acid Box 3 filter that I've got here. And I'd like to, yeah, try to do a thing where we could record me filtering it in from a low pass filter state, like, and opening it up so that we could sample that in and then have the pad be introduced to the listener through filtering it in this little bit of a breakdown section here. Yeah, I think this is going to work if I can make it happen. And this is okay. Let's do that. Let's make this happen. I know this is a live stream and this is probably going to take us on a little bit of a field trip, but buckle up and let's see what we can come up with. I'm going to turn the volume down on the Force because I'm going to be pulling some cables here. I'm going to take the outputs out of the Dark Star, set those to the side, and I'm going to grab a separate set of cables here. Hopefully I've got one right. Yeah, perfect. I like to use good quality cables, you guys. These are just some monster cables, really short, great for putting stuff around on top of the desktop, right? We're going to use the external outputs. So we got 1 and 2. So this is going to be left in. Get my coffee out of the way here. Okay, so we're going to go left in to the Erica, and then we're going to go right in, and we're going to take the other output here. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, what I'd like to do is I would like to go to the mixer. I'm going to change cameras here. I'm going to go to the mixer, and we're going to just scroll over a little bit so that we can get our chord pad. Fantastic. And if I go to in and out settings, all right, there it is. Audio out. I can send this chord pad only out of the outputs 3 and 4. And those are coming out here, going to the acid box. So if I'm not mistaken, we should now be able to, and they're coming back into the sampler. If I make sure that if I go to the menu and we open up the sampler, I should be able to see that level coming in here. Hopefully. Let's see here. I just need to be on this section with the pad. Okay, here's our pad. Input level a little too much volume here. Turn this up. Trying to get these levels pretty even if I can. Whoops. Almost. Come on. Almost. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Now, I'm filtering that sound down, right, through this external filter. Now, I'm positive there was a way that we could have that we could do this without using external gear. But the whole point in having external gear is using your gear. So that's what we're trying to do today. I'm not trying to just keep everything in the box. There's filters in the box. I could have assigned a filter in the box to that pad, and we could have recorded this in the box. But I think it's going to be more fun to do it with the hardware, and I really love this filter. Okay, So what I want to do is I want to find the point at like the exact filter cutoff point where the pad sounds at a good point to introduce it to the listener, like the lowest low we can go. Like where are we going to start this filter cutoff? I'm going to play the scene, mess with the filter cutoff, and get it real low in the as low as we can go with it still sounding good. Is what I mean to say. I think right about there sounds pretty good still. Whoops. It gets a little distorted sounding down here. I don't want that. That's why I'm, soloing just the pad so I can get a really good, clear, representation. I know that the crash is still going. It doesn't matter. That's not coming through on the recording. I don't like that sort of distortedness that we're getting with it. But I really want to be able to go down this low. So now I'm, making whatever compromises I need to make, Oh, I don't like that distorted vibe down there. So maybe about here then. And then we can still filter it up, I wish I could go a little bit lower without getting that distorted vibe. Okay, we're going to start here. And let's see here. All I need to do is just, play this groove and be recording in the sampler. And let's see here. Yeah, I think maybe we're getting just too much input level still. It looks like it. Maybe that's what that distortion is coming from. Let me turn the input level way down. No, it's not coming from the input level. All right. I really don't like that distortion down there. I mean, you don't hear it so much when the track is going, but I know it's there, Oh, I see. I'm going the wrong direction with that input level. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to start there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, right? I'm going to go ahead and hit ARM on the sampler, and I'm going to hit, launch. It's going to launch that scene. I'm going to count, in my mind, the bars, and I'm going to roll the filter cut up, and we're going to bake that into the sample that we are sampling, and here we go. So we're now recording, right? I'm going to launch the scene and get ready to roll the filter up. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, and there we've got recorded a version now of our pad with the filter being moved, baked into that sample. So we're going to go ahead and label this at this time. This is a D major. I like to label samples so that, no matter where you find that sample, like a year or so from now, all the information that you might need is in the title of that sample. So like I'm putting in the key the sound is in, I'm putting in the tempo that is in, and I'm putting in what kind of sound that's in, pad, filter, up. Okay, do it and keep that sample. All right, fantastic. Let's see here. Now, if we go back into the matrix, what I want to do is I want to be able to put that pad in on its own track because this is an instrument. We can't load a sample like on that same track. So I'm going to load another drum on this track here, and we're going to label this one. It's right next to our chord pad track, and this is the chord pad resample. So chord pad resamp, fantastic, and close. Now what we can do is we can write on. It's the clip before, right? Yeah, I muted some tracks here, so let's figure that out and unmute those. Cool. Yeah, it's going to be in, I want to put it at the beginning of this, if I can get away with that. So let's see if we can get away with that. On the, nope, not the chord pad, but on the chord pad resample, rather, I want to create a clip here. If I go clip, we get into that clip. Let's see here. If I press clip, we can see, yeah, it's an 8-bar. Okay, fantastic. So now I just need to load the sample onto this pad here. So if we go edit and then go over here to where the sample is, I can grab what we just recorded. Let me just scroll through these samples and find it. D major pad filter. There it is. Fantastic. We just need to edit that sample still. Right. Okay. So we'll go into the menu. We're going to go sample edit just so I can get in and get that start point right at the beginning. We'll just start. Whoops. I did that wrong. So we'll undo that. Cool. And process and delete. What am I doing wrong there? Because it's discard rather, that's what I need. There we go, cool. Now I'm just gonna get right in on the start point of this sample. We're gonna get right in here. Whoops. It looks pretty good. Process, discard. And cool. Here's our sample now. And we should start hearing that filter movement on that. Right? No? I'm not sure what's happening here. Okay, let's just save at this time. Shift and save. Fantastic. Let me see if I can get this in a clip then. Let's go back to the matrix and launch. And then we've got our clip there. And then fantastic. All I need to do, I believe, is just to put that on the downbeat of this clip. And we should be good to go. Yeah. It's too loud in the mix for sure. And it's not playing the entirety of the sample, and I need to figure that out. That's going to be a difficult one because I'm not sure what that is about. It should be set to like a one-shot mode, meaning it should just play the whole sample, but it seems to be truncating it. I'm going to change that to a note on rather, so that it's waiting for me to hold the sample down. And let's see, if I go back into the clip here, I can just sort of select that at the bottom, and I can hold this down for the full 8 bars. Does that get us where I want to be? Nope, it's not. That is really weird. I can't quite understand why that's doing that. Because I'm telling it to hold down this pad, And when I hold down the pad, it maybe, let's see here. If I go back into the menu and I go back into the sample edit, I mean, I only have one version of that sound, and it's, huh. Now I'm very confused. So when I hold it on the screen, it plays all the way, but when I hold the pad, yeah, the end point is not at the end, but on the actual sample itself, it is at the end. I didn't leave it like in the middle of the sample. Is there another place that I'm supposed to adjust that? There it is. And again, there we have it again. Original Synth saving my butt in the live stream. Original Synth, you the man. I really appreciate the help. Sometimes those little tiny things can get away, from me, especially on a live stream when I'm trying to worry about all the rest of the tech and like where we're about to go next and all that kind of stuff. I really appreciate the help. Thanks very much. That's awesome. All right. Fantastic. We're moving forward again. And let's save at this time then. Cool. All right. So what we want to do, I believe now the pad will play in its entirety and I can start adjusting the level a little more. I think it's a little loud maybe. Yeah, we're getting there. We are getting there. Okay, what I think I'd like to do is use that second drum roll that we loaded in at the beginning of the session to try to reintroduce the beat at the halfway point in this clip here. I might be, doing myself a disservice by breaking it up halfway like this, but I think when we hear it in context in a minute, this is going to work. But we won't know until I actually get all the way there, so we're gonna have to find out. But I'm gonna put this clip here in for the drum fills track. I'm going to go and put in the second drum fill at the very end of this pattern here on the beginning of bar 8. And let's see here. Whoops, adjust nudge. There we go. And I can sort of do that to let myself know that it fills in that amount of space here. We don't have any idea if this is going to be like very loud or how it's going to sound per se. It's this drum loop here, fill rather. All right, so if we want to put some like effect on that, which I do, it's going to be that Air Parametric EQ, and we're just going to remove those low frequencies. Cool, we get a little bit of effects in there already. It's probably going to be a little bit loud in the mix, so let's pan it, I don't know, like 7 to the left, and bring it down in volume just a touch. And let's go ahead and hear it now in context here. Oh wait, I put that on the wrong part. I put that on bar 8, but we've broken this into half. So actually, the drums are reintroduced on bar 5. Bear with me here, and we're going to sort of have this drum roll actually play halfway through and not at the end. There we go. All right, let's hear this in context. It's helping us reintroduce the kick drum here. Now, I appreciate you guys hanging with me. I know the arrangement process can get a little bit tedious and a little bit, wonky sometimes, but we're going to get back into the, flow of this in just a moment here. Once we get that new section with the pad rolling. Absolutely, we are really getting there now. Okay. What I'd like to do then is I'd like to make this drum roll a little bit more of an effect. I'm going to put a little bit more reverb and a little bit more delay on it. Maybe a little bit more delay even. And I'm going to remove more of the low frequency content. So it's like obviously like a filtered type of drum fill. Let's hear that. Yeah, we're getting there. It still needs a little bit more of all of that stuff. It needs a little bit less volume, and it needs a little bit more high pass filter, and it needs a little bit more of that delay, I think. That still might not be enough volume that we took off there. I'm going to pan it like a little bit more and bring it back in the mix a tiny bit more, and let's hear it again. And then see now, when I bring in the next scene that has our baseline variation, now we're full on into a new groove completely with this scene. We've got the pad, we've got the new baseline, and we are swinging away. We're ready to start, bringing in more content after, this scene plays. I think we're doing pretty good there. That transition might be a little bit odd sounding in complete context though. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save, and we're going to play the track from the absolute beginning until right where we are now. I believe I need to go back up a little bit to start at the beginning. Let's also take a moment and let's just sort of time out where we're at this point in the journey as well. So here we go. We're just going to go from the very beginning here. Oh, yeah, I worked. Woohoo! Yes, come on. Let's go one more time. And now we're full on into this next section. Thanks for your patience, everyone. I'd like to know in the chat if you think that sort of worked, what we just, put together there. Obviously, I would still take more time and finesse these transitions, but you have to build yourself that, beginning structure on which that you can polish, And when you get everything sounding like it's working and flowing, sometimes, we'll take the time to polish, and sometimes we'll take the time to just then start, moving ahead. And I think what we can do at this point is continue moving forward. I think that was sounding pretty decent. I'm going to check in with the chat. Okay, fantastic. Let's go ahead and switch back over to this cam. And what let's do is let me check out that scene again that we're sort of at here in the jam, in the track. Yeah, right on. Okay, so when we're building a track, it's not always the best idea to just continue, adding new sounds and adding new ideas, but rather it's, what we want to do is we want to try to keep bringing in some of these other sounds, but maybe in new ways. So we already have like this lead sound on a plugin here. This one is rather is in chord mode now all of a sudden. That might be an interesting way to use this lead, actually. And we also have that synth flute, which again is on that weird little harmonize. If I put that back to just scales. So we've got these sounds that we can maybe create new parts that might, gel with this new section of our track as well. So before I just start, sampling in new sounds from like the Virus Dark Star and stuff like that, we're going to see if we can't, maybe put like, something from our original lead synth, or maybe something from our synth flute type of sound. All right. Oh yeah, come on. All right. Let's see here. I'm trying to decide now if I want, let me hear this in context again from a few bars previous, few patterns previous rather. I'm trying to decide if I want to like bring in this new lead here, or whether if we want to introduce another clip underneath. Let's find out. Yeah, I think we want it to happen right at the start of this scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and create a clip right here. By default, if I go in there and we check it out, that should be an 8-bar clip. I don't know why I keep verifying that it's going to be. It is every time by default. And we want to put in some sort of a lead here. I'm trying to decide now whether I want it to be... pardon me while I have a sip of coffee. Well, I'm trying to decide if I want it to be like more of a busy part, or more of like a mellow part. Maybe what we'll do is we'll check out this harmonize mode because we're already playing chords with the other sound, and maybe we could do some really interesting blending of melodics this way. Let's find out. I don't think we need to use chords. Yeah. More space in the mix with just the notes, yeah. Now I want to decide, what octave I want to work in. Whether we want to do like a high, very high pitched. That might be a little too high, so maybe this octave down here would be the way to go. Let's see. Yeah. I think what I'm going to do, let's see, is make sure that we're recording on this track. It looks like we are. Just going to see if we can maybe get lucky. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And here we go. That's what I want. Let's find out. think that sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and save at this time with the shift and save. All right, fantastic. And let's see here. If we go back into the matrix, I think I'd like to go ahead and see if we can build this scene up to even a more like robust and jamming section. So let's go copy that whole row of clips down to a new row of clips. And let's see if I can add at this time a part in this section from our synth flute. Because we've, used that before. We don't want to like introduce that to the listener in the beginning of our track and then not go back to it, but just keep adding new sounds. We sort of want to, get as much use out of the existing sounds as we can. Let's go ahead and just save one more time. And let me launch this clip. Right. And let me see how the flute sounds over this, new section. I'm not really vibing that flute as much as, maybe I could in this section. So I don't think we're going to add it again, like right here in the track per se. So this might then give us the opportunity to go ahead and explore a few of these other sounds that I've picked out of the virus to see if maybe one of those is nice for this section. Let's see here. I'm going to turn the volume down on the force because I'm going to pull a couple of these cables here. And I'm going to remove the external cable that we routed the pad from the force through the acid box with. I'm going to remove that, and we're going to plug the Virus Darkstar back into the acid box 3. I really love this filter from Erica Synths. I think for the most part, it sounds absolutely fantastic, and it's a stereo filter, not a mono filter, so we can, keep our sounds fully robust and stereo. I've written down some presets that, sounded pretty good when I was messing around yesterday. And let's see if any of these, maybe works with, sounds decent with what we've got created in this new scene right here. I'm just going to kind of jam along with it and see if we like any of these kind of like arpeggio presets and whatnot. There we go. That is a cool sound, but it's not at all right for what we're working with, in this section of the track. Let me go to some of these other presets here that I've written down that sounded maybe like possibles. And let's check some more of these out. I think that's quite right. Whoa, it's a loud one. Trying a few more here. I really like that sound, but it's not right at all for what we're creating today. Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's try a different one. 32. Not jumping out with any of these in this new section yet. We still might get lucky. hold on. Ooh, hold on. Can't decide. I kind of like that, but I'm not sure that it's right for what we're creating here. What do you guys think? I don't know. I really like that, but is it right for this is the question. And that grooves pretty well. We could maybe pan one lead a little left and one lead a little right so they don't compete. They're kind of in that same frequency range as each other. But it seems to work. Do you guys like that? I like it. All right, we got a yes from Audible Video. That's all I need. Thanks, bro. Let's go ahead and sample that. I like it too. We're going to go into... Actually, I can just do it with this camera, I suppose. It'll be a quick one. We're going to go into the menu. We're going to go into the sampler page. We're going to check the level on this. Level looks pretty good. Maybe a little louder. Cool. And I think what we're going to do is just sample in like 8 bars of this. So I'm just going to trigger the sampler, and then when I hit the note, I'm just going to count out 8 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, and 8, 2, 3, 4. All right, just so I can, let go at the right time, per se, count that out. Okay, then we're going to label this the same way that we label everything. All of the important information, we're going to make sure we get into the name of the sample. This is it's not a D major, rather, but it's just a D arpeggio at 128 BPM. So D, 128. Let's call this ARP. Whoops. ARP. And let's say it's from the virus, so let's get that in the name, virus, and then let's just put like some extra numbers at the end so that it has its, own name, and nothing will ever conflict with that name per se. We're going to go ahead and, we don't need to save it rather, but just go keep. Okay, that's got it into our project now. And so let's see here. We've got quite a few tracks. If we go to the navigate thing, we can see that we're, quite off from like just an 8-track project. We've got quite a few tracks here. And I'm trying to decide, whether I want to add its own track for this. I mean, I guess we do is the thing. So we're going to go ahead and add a new drum track at this time so we can load that sample into it. Let's give this track a name at this time, and let's call this one Virus ARP. Do it. Fantastic. Okay, let's put a clip here, and if we make sure what are we in note mode, if I just go edit and hit, yeah, fantastic. I can now load that sample that we just recorded. We can find it here. D128 ARP virus. Okay, there's the sample itself. We're just going to need to edit that. So we're going to go to sample edit. Okay, we're going to bring in that start point, maybe that end point just a little. We're going to go process and discard. Now we're going to start, we're going to start, come on, what am I missing here? No, not that. There we go. Okay. Just want to zoom in to the very beginning of this sample here. Right about there. That looks good. Maybe, yeah, cool. Process and discard. Fantastic. Let's go to the mixer. Let's turn that down a little bit, and you guessed it. By default, we are going to put that parametric EQ on it. Every single track in every single track gets a parametric EQ. We're going to remove any possibility of any sub-frequencies hanging out on that, but we can't hear, and we brought the volume down on that. We're going to also just put this through a little bit of our inbuilt reverb and delay sends so that it kind of gets into the acoustic space that we've created here. Very, very subtle there, just very, very subtle. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and bring that down a little bit in the mix by default. So I'm sure it's a little... Okay, now we can go ahead and hear it, I think, in context. Not yet, because I need to actually put the dot in, right? Yeah, okay. If we go to grid mode and we just zoom in on this a little bit, I just need to put that dot to actually trigger the sample here. Whoops, at the beginning. And I'm just going to pull the end time out as well so that I know that it's kind of a sample that's holding for an entire 8 bars. I think what we'll do actually is... oh my goodness. See, right on the note, it's on the actual sample itself. I think we're just going to tell it that it doesn't play in its entirety every time I tap it, but rather it needs to be held down. That way we've got control over the gate time here. And let's save again at this time now that we've got all of that done. Now I think we can hear it in the actual mix. Yeah, it's too loud still. Fantastic. What I want to do, I just want to solo this for a moment so that I can take a look at the EQ of this sound. I've got a headphone out from my main mixer under the desk going into Ableton over here so that I can get a visual on some, plugins that I'm using in Ableton to see these frequencies. I'm using the FabFilter Pro Q3 and also the Tonal Balance Control plugin. And I'll show you what I mean. Over here in Ableton, I've got my visualizers up. All right. And I just want to tame some of these frequencies on this new pad sound so I can use the visualizers to help me see those frequencies. Okay, so we're putting a parametric EQ on just this pad. I'm going to go in there and mess with some of these frequencies that are a little extraneous. 769. And 1.6. There we go. And let's go ahead and put the mother ducker on this new sample as well so that it kind of ducks out of the way gently every time the kick drum hits. If I go to the effects settings here, we can go ahead and scroll down and put the mother ducker on this, which has already been assigned in our first session rather. So if I press play now, you should be able to see that ducking. get really gentle amount of ducking on here. I don't want to actually hear like pumping in this sound. I just want to make sure that our kick drum isn't, conflicting with any of these sounds, and it always punches right through. Like we shouldn't actually even necessarily hear this, but we can see that it's pulling down the volume a little bit every time that kick drum hits. Just a little bit. I think what I want to do is pull this down in volume a tiny bit more and send a tiny bit more of it to our internal reverb and delay that we've set up as well. I think at this time it might be nice to sort of hear this in context again. I'm going to go Shift and Save. Fantastic. Thanks again for that tip. Original Synth, saving my butt twice in one session. I like that. All right. Go back up to the top here. We're going to hear this in its entirety again, and here we go. Hey, what's happening, Wall? Thanks for tuning in. Can you be a little bit more specific as to which melody is too overpowering, Original Synth? Is it our first one? Is it this one? Is it that lead there? Well, I feel like that lead is almost a little too loud. What do you think? No, but it kind of works with that volume of the flute lead. I don't know. Right, I want to remember that we have that arpeggio as well. Yeah, introducing that pad. All right. Yeah. Need some sort of a finesse on that transition there. Okay, so let's go back to this scene. And I think this might be a great opportunity to bring in the riser that we sampled at the beginning of this session. Let's see here on the effects track here. If I go clip, and I believe the riser is on the third pad, and it's like a 2-bar riser. So if I put in a note here and I sort of extend it to let myself know that it's taking up that much space, I believe we should hear this riser now, and maybe we'll need to adjust the volume in the mix, but let's hear this. Yeah, fantastic. This is great. This is going to allow us an opportunity to do another quick break and rest before we drop into the full-on groove in the next bar. So that's starting on measure number 7. What I want to do is I'd like to pause the kick drum here. So I want to make sure we're on that track, and fantastic. We're just going to zoom in a tiny bit here, and then on measure 7, we're going to do a rest here and delete some of these kick drums. I'll leave that little turnaround at the end, but I think this will give us an opportunity to sort of do that same type of thing with the next track as well, which is the tops. And so if I zoom into these and do that same type of thing, it's like we start the beat, then we take one little rest, and then we full on take off into the next section. This, may or may not work. Hopefully it will. Let's delete that one too. So here we've got that 2-bar rest on both of the drum tracks. I don't know if we're going to need another rest like on the bass for that to work or not. Let's see if this is working at all. Yeah, I'm gonna bring that sound down just a little bit, Subaju. I think you're right. So lead one, then that one. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, and yeah, I like the way that is, transitioning into that next section, but we do have that sound too loud still. So let's bring it down in the mix and let's pan it a little bit more to the left. Let's bring it down a little bit more and let's remove maybe a tiny little bit more low frequency content from that sound and hear it again in context. Oh, wrong scene, one above it rather. There we go, yeah. The riser is cool, all right, good deal. Too loud still? Yeah, I think that transition is sounding a lot better, but I think that riser is still a little bit too loud. So let's bring that down a little bit more, and let's save again at this time. Shift and save. All right, fantastic. So let's see here. What have we added today? We've added 2 drum loops. We've fleshed out the arrangement quite a bit as more, which gets a little bit more difficult, I think, as we start working with more and more components. I wonder on this last scene that we've now got, if we might be able to get our arpeggio back in maybe, or our synth flute sound back in maybe. Let's find out. Oh yeah, probably not, because we have that new funky sound. Here's our synth flute. Let's see what happens. This is probably silly, but yeah, maybe a little too busy there. Yeah, I don't think we need the flute. Yeah, okay. Put this harp maybe. I don't know, we had this ARP come in a while ago. I don't think this is going to work in this scene, but we're going to just double check that real fast and see if maybe we could get lucky by just copying that down into this scene and seeing how it sounds. Yeah, that's a no. Okay, that's definitely a no on that one there. Okay. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and I'm going to play this from the beginning again, and I'm going to see how we are doing as far as time is concerned. flowing. I think the flow is really good here. I'm just not exactly sure where to go now. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, let's see. What let's do is let's go ahead and copy this whole row of clips down. And I either need to, add something or take something away at this time. Let's go ahead and take away our lead sound. Yeah. This has now opened up some space here for us to maybe add something else. I think, let's see. Why am I not? I think we should be hearing that chord pad. Track 11. Why am I not? Oh, because I still have it. Oh my goodness. I still have, this is embarrassing and hilarious at the same time. If I'm not mistaken, I still have that chord pad going out of the external outputs, meaning for the last few minutes, we haven't actually been hearing that chord pad in the mix properly. And I totally apologize for that. Let's get that back in the mix and see if we can't, that might help our session actually take on the life that I was hoping. Now that we've got that back coming in on the, going out rather on the main outputs, we'll hear that in the mix as intended. All right, let's go ahead and save now that I've fixed that though as well. That basically means that on these last three scenes, there was actually a chord pad playing that we haven't been hearing. So let me go back to the scene before that and we'll start playing. Well, we have the chord pad now back in the mix. All right. This is probably going to be just what I needed to get to that next level here. Yeah, now our chord is back over the lead. Doesn't sound so empty. Oh, fantastic. Come on. Yeah. All right, and introduce that new sound. Yeah. Okay, so here's what we'll do. Did I just say? Let's make sure we did. So now we're into this new section, but our chord pad is still grooving. And it's the third scene in a row that our chord pad is playing on. I think it might be really nice to have like a low-pass filter version of this chord pad to play now to make room in the mix for some other sounds to sit on top of it. Let me see here. I think I don't want to. Trying to decide whether I want to take the time to resample this through the acid box again, even though I just had that issue with remembering to reconfigure it when I was done. Because I want to basically low pass filter this version of the chord pad and then record that to audio. I think what I'm going to do is, let's see here, on the chord pad track itself, if we go shift and clip, I would think I want to put that on the actual track itself. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put a low pass filter on the chord pad from the box this time. We're going to scroll down to filter and just grab their really simple low pass filter. Fantastic. And that's this one here. So now I can kind of play the scene and set the frequency that I'd like the filter to be at. Yeah, down here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that. So what let's do is let's go ahead and resample that bit there so that we've got a version of the pad that's all low pass filtered, and we can, help that to define the different sections. What let's do is this, if I solo this track here, yeah, fantastic. And then we go into the menu and we go into the sampler. I can tell the sampler that I want to resample left and right channels. So everything that's playing is just going to get resampled into the mixer here. And here's our level. That looks fantastic. And I'm going to record 8 bars now of the pad through this low pass filter. We're going to go ahead and arm this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, and then 5, 2, 3, 4. I can't count today. 6, and then 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, and fantastic. That's exactly what I want. And we're going to label this appropriately. This is a D major pad at 128. This is a resample with, resample through a low pass filter. Okay, come on now, filter. Cool. Let's go ahead and save that and keep. Now we just need to go back into the menu and edit that sample right at the beginning, sample edit. And let's see here if did we not get it? No, we got it. All right. Let's go ahead and process and discard at this time. Start zooming right into the beginning of that sound. Cool. Bring that start point right in. Yeah, that'll work. Process and discard. Okay, so now we just need to assign that sample to a pad. Let's go matrix, and let's unsolo that track there. On the chord pad resample, I want to bring that in here at the bottom now. But what I want to do is I want to delete the actual instrument part, delete clip. Cannot delete clip at blah, blah, blah. What am I doing wrong there? I'm on the wrong track somehow. Let's figure that out. It's the one next to the one, so it's this one here. The lighting on my grid, like I said earlier, gets a little bit hard to see sometimes when I have all of these lights on in the room. So let's see here. We want to add that to the chord pad resample. And so if I bring up the note mode on that track, we've got an empty pad here, and I can go edit, and we can select this pad to bring in our new resample. I just need to scroll through here and find it real fast. I don't remember exactly what we called that, but we'll find it. There it is. D major pad 128 resample. Yeah. All right, and I'd like to go to the envelope page and tell it to be a note on as well, so that it doesn't play in its entirety every time I tap the pad, but rather we have to hold that out. Now, if I go back to matrix, okay, cool. I can get to the clip that I want to put that in, and I can zoom in just a little bit here. We can pop in a note on the downbeat, and I can have this note hold for the entire 8-bar pattern. So hopefully what this has done is given us a variation of our pad that's, got some of those high frequencies shaved off, giving us room in the mix to add yet another sound here, and keep the listener, interested, and keep these sections a little bit more defined. Let's go ahead and save at this time. Let's make sure that I got that sample in the mix and everything's sounding okay. I think it could maybe be a little bit louder. Yeah. So I'm going to bring the volume up on this a little bit. Yeah. I'm also going to put an effect on it. You guessed it, every single sound on every single track gets its own EQ, friends. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'm going to make sure that I remove any frequencies, I don't know, beneath about 80 on this one. Fantastic. And let's hear that again. Still gonna make this a little louder in the mix, I think. Actually, maybe rather than bringing up the volume of the track, maybe I'll just go into the menu, go back into sample edit, find, the actual sample itself, make sure I'm on the right sound here, which we are, and then bring up the volume on this actual sample from, from this place. There's another 3 decibels. That's a little better. Let's do that again, actually. Cool, even louder now. This one I'm also go back to the mixer and make sure, let's see here, our original chord pad track, we want to go ahead and take this low pass filter off now because we use that as just, an effect there. Next up, I see that we don't have the mother ducker on the chord pad or on the chord pad resample, and that would be a really nice thing to just pop at the end of those tracks so that, again, the kick drum just punches right through those. This is going to be so subtle that we're not really going to hear it. We're not trying to create like super duper amount of pumping or anything like that. This is just a really subtle effect that we're trying to get here just to keep our kick drum punching through the mix. So we can see it's doing quite a bit of ducking here. We're going to adjust the threshold so that it's doing quite a bit less amount of ducking. This is just a really subtle thing that we're creating here. We're going to do that same thing on our chord resample track. Mother ducker, okay. And again, if you're not quite sure what we're doing here, check out the stream from 2 weekends ago where we did the beginning session for this and we set up the mother ducker because I go into a little bit more detail there. We're going to do the same thing, just adjust this threshold so that it's not getting a lot of pumping, but just a little bit, just a little bit. Fantastic. I think we're going to do the same thing on our synth flute track. Again, this is very, very subtle. But these little tiny, subtle things, these are what help you, turn your track into a well-polished and good-sounding track. That was on the synth flute. Right, I just want to adjust that pumping level as well. So it's very, very subtle. Yeah. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and save again at this time. All right, and let's see here. Okay, I think that we are pretty much good to go to start adding some other things. And I'm not sure if we want to add the other things on this scene or on a new scene beneath it. So what we're going to do is you guessed it, we're going to play the track again from the beginning, really get, involved in the vibe and the flow of it. So where we get to that section, I'll kind of know where to go next. Thanks for hanging out with me on these live streams, everyone. I appreciate you being here. That's funny, Wall. What is happening with my hair? God, I feel like that flute is way too loud. It's hard to tell on the headphones. Feel like that drum roll is too loud still. Remember to bring that down like a decibel. Yeah, this is good. All right. Gonna copy. I'm going to go ahead and copy this whole scene now to the row underneath it. I think that the flow of the groove is working pretty well, and I think that by the time we get to this scene in the mix, that it's time to kind of allow a little bit of a rest in that lead stuff to let the listener just sort of groove. And then in the next scene, I think we've now got space to change it up a little bit, which would be potentially adding some stuff. Might be able to squeeze that. Let's try. See if we can squeeze our synth flute in another time, because I'm starting to feel a little bit odd that we've introduced it in the beginning of the track and then taken it away and then not gone back to it. I often, when I'm writing finished music, I often find that that's sort of a personal like issue with me, that I'll often kind of start a track and then by about halfway we're sort of like off on a different journey than what we started from. And so to introduce a part, then take it away and then never bring it back again sort of helps that maybe not awesome flow. So we're going to keep trying to see if we can't get this synth flute in as we keep progressing the arrangement further as well. And let's see, if probably not going to gel so much over that like synthy guitar, but we'll find out. Maybe like a minimal part of the flute just to remind the listener of the vibe of the track might work. You never know. I'm not. If I bring it up in that higher octave, it definitely conflicts with the other arpeggio that we recorded from the Virus Dark Star, and if I play it in one octave lower, I'm not sure that it's really working. And so now I'm thinking I kind of like it in that higher octave. Maybe it's time we take out the arpeggio from the Virus and reintroduce the flute. I'm not sure. But that's what I'm thinking. Ooh. Do you guys think that the flute gels in this octave with that arp still going? Working? Should we add that in, kind of something like that? It's a bit too loud, the flute. I appreciate that. Does it fit over that other arpeggio? I guess is really what I can't quite decide. I think it does it? Not to the flute, okay. So this was my other thought process though, is that what if we drop that arpeggio from the Virus on this particular scene, because it looks like it's been going for the past two scenes. Let's just check that real fast. If I just if I mute that track, so we're not, it's this one? Yeah, let's see here, and then play that again, right? So it's just the bass and the drums, and we kind of lose the arpeggio. Does the flute work now? I think it does. Okay. What do you guys think? I'm thinking that's the way to go, to drop the ARP that's kind of conflicting with that flute, allowing us the space in the mix to reintroduce that sound so that the listener, is already familiar with that instrument. To bring it back in, I think might be appropriate. Flute needs messing up a bit. Oh, like some old school tape warp, or try the filter gate. Ooh, I'm liking the sound of all of that. Let's give that a go. Let me see if I can put the flute in. If we can make a pattern that sounds okay, then we'll try some effects on it, and like resample that out so we don't mess with the original flute pattern from before. Let's go ahead and save at this time. Shift and save. Hey, Original Synth, do you have a YouTube channel that I can follow? You're full of great ideas. If you've got a channel, I'd love to be subscribed to it. Just let me know in the chat. You probably can't drop a direct link to it in the chat, but if you've got a channel, just let me know, and I'll track it down and make sure I'm subscribed to you on YouTube. That'd be awesome. Cool. Okay, so I muted that track, but we're gonna have it not muted, and we're going to delete. Is it? Why won't it? Because I'm not in launch mode, and we're going to delete that last. Yeah. That gives us room now to put our flute back over, right? Note mode on the flute. All right, so I don't really, have any ideas of what to play, but let's just sort of tap record and see if we can maybe get lucky. I often find that, that sort of does the trick. Let me just make sure that we got record arm on the flute track ready to go, and we do. Let me just launch this clip and, see if we can punch something in. Lucky. Ooh. Okay. Really simple flute part. I think that's what I'm after. Yeah. Ooh. I'm liking the way that sounds. Let's go ahead and save. But what let's do now that we've got that flute part in is let's see about maybe putting some neat effect on it so that we could create a different variation of that sound that might, keep the listener a lot more interested than just bringing back in the exact same sound. Let's see what happens. If we go to the mixer and we go to effects, and there's like one slot left here on the flute channel. I'm not familiar with the... Let's see here, the filter gate. Let's try that. I'm going to scroll down here. And is it the filter sweep or the filter sync? Where do I find that? Is it low pass filter sync? Is that it? I don't think that's it. Let's find out. On the flute. Yeah, those are just sweeps and stuff. That's not like gating. It'd be cool if we could find some gating. See if I can find the right. There's so many different effects plugins that are included in the Force here. I haven't had even remotely the kind of time to explore these as I, probably should have. We got a nice tremolo. That could be interesting as well. What am I missing here? I know I've seen an option for some sort of filter gate before. Let's see here. Where is that? Is that in the air section? Maybe like air filter gate up at the top. Air filter gate. There it is. All right, select. Fantastic. And let's bring that up. I'm just going to leave the default, preset on it, and maybe we'll scroll through some of the included presets and see what we can, see what we can do to this flute sound. stuff in this filter gate. Checking out these presets that come with the filter gate. I'm not really hearing anything that's really jumping out of this filter gate for the mix, but I'm a little bit curious now about that tremolo that we passed in the very beginning. So I'm gonna just scroll down all the way down and check out this. Oh, we got a tremolo sync. That would definitely be what I'm after. And let's see if that does anything interesting to this sound. I want really fast, like 16th note tremolo, maybe? No, none of this is what I'm after, really. No, that's not really what I want either. Doing some experimenting for sure today on this flute sound, but nothing is really... Taking a look at the actual instrument itself. We're on detuned 9%. None of these things really is going to affect the sound in like a super interesting way. A lot of times I'll use my creative plugins inside of Ableton when I'm trying to do something like this. I might, sample something out and then, have that in Ableton where I can use stuff like Shaper Box 2 or some of my glitch plugins inside of Ableton to get things, into a very different state. We've got quite a lot more like really robust and modern effects in the Ableton. I don't really know what we should add to that. That's just it, is that we've got quite a bit of reverb and delay in the mix so far. Hey, what's happening, Arthur? Thanks for tuning in. So I don't necessarily think that if we add more of that, it's going to get us where we want to be. Let me hear this again. And then from the scene before it. Okay, so we still got our chord happening in the mix, so maybe now would be an interesting time to create like a different chord pattern. Let me see about that. In the launch, I can delete the clip here, this one. Yes, and then we could create a new chord pad clip, right? Okay, and... Wait a minute. I did that wrong, I think. I'm going to undo a few steps here. Yeah, I want it rather... I see. Right. It's the version, it's our resample version that we have the low pass filter on. So that's on both of these? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So you know how we sampled out the chord pad through the, not through this filter, but through the low pass filter in the Force? And then we have the next thing after that. Let's open that filter back up again is the thing. So let's see. It's launch and then delete. Right, it's this one that I want to delete, and I just want to copy our original one back down, But right now we might want to put actually a different variation there. No. Let's see. No, yeah, we probably need a different variation of that there. Okay, cool. I'm going to delete that. And we're going to put a new clip here. And if I go to note mode, now I can try to mess with like a new pad type of sound. And if we'll need to go back to the chord mode, so shift and note. And we're going to go from scales over to harmonize this time. Yeah, fantastic. So it's a new flute part. We're going to have a new chord part as well. Let's see here. 2, 3, 4. Or do I want to hold it down? Yeah, I'm going to make sure that I've got recording armed. We're going to hit record. All right, just going to put in a new chord part here. Let's go. Got a couple of wrong notes in there, which we can fix really easily. It's those right there. Just grab these 3 notes and shift and delete there. Let's get a save on at this time as well. So I think that new chord part works all right. Still think that flute might be a little loud. Really hard to tell on headphones. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna go. I think we just saved. All right. Let's hear this now in context from the beginning, and let's go ahead and get the clock going again this time and see if we can't get a more accurate representation of where we're actually at in the arrangement. Thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. Bit crush on the flute. I'm not sure that's going to get us where we want to go. It might. I feel like those claps are too loud too, but it's hard to tell on these headphones. That drum roll is still too loud for sure. That second one's all right though. That ARP. Then we have a chill to let that ARP kind of come through. Maybe we'll filter that ARP down in this section, filter it out, kind of. I like that idea. Let's go. And then we would need more of a, yeah, okay, let's do that. Let's take a moment and let's record a version of the arpeggio being filtered out of the mix so that when we bring in this new section, it's even that more stark of a transition. Okay, let's see here. It's on this pattern here. Not the flute. I said the flute. I meant the arpeggio. Okay. I know that we can do, automation and things like that inside the Force, but I find that it's often better for, my workflow to just record these things as I want them, as a chunk of audio that I can just play back super easily without worrying about the automation. And I think that's how we're going to approach this as well. What I want to do is it's the virus ARP, and if I'm not mistaken, that's a sample. Okay, fantastic. What let's do is let's go ahead and solo just this track. Let's go ahead and solo, just the arpeggio now. And what I want to do is I just want to record a version of this where we are filtering it down and kind of like out of the mix per se. So I'm going to go to the mixer, and on this channel we're going to add an effect, and it's going to be a filter. Just the, let's see here, just the standard low pass filter. We're going to scroll down a little bit to low pass filter. Fantastic. And we're going to bring that up on the screen here, and we're going to bring it all the way to the top. And then I'm just going to record myself, rolling this filter down a little bit for 8 bars. Let's bring the resonance up, I don't know, maybe 25 to start with. And sort of hear how that sounds when you start rolling this down. Maybe bring the resonance up to a little more. Let's try 33. I like the way that sounds. We're going to go ahead and start with this all the way open, and I'm going to record an 8-bar version of this where I am filtering the knob down over these 8 bars. Let's go back into the menu, and let's go to the sampler, and I just want to have it be on resample, and we're already there, so I'm going to go ahead and arm that. Now I just need to go back to, where is it, on the mixer? So no. Oh, I see. If I leave the page, it closes that down. That's okay. I just want to figure out then how I can affect this filter without it being up on the screen. What we can do is go into the menu here, go to the macros, and I want to go to, what is it, knobs here? Cool. And let me just let's see here. This is the, if I'm not mistaken, I can add one here. That would probably be what I need. Where is that? Oh, for Pete's sake. I don't want, there's supposed to be a little thing here for me to add stuff. What am I doing wrong? It's definitely something. I don't want to be in like the volume mode is what it is. I want to be in project mode. Yeah, cool. All right, we got this. This is what I mean by how things kind of get a little bit progressively a little bit more difficult as we start, fleshing out the, the track, because we're working on such things in such a more detailed manner. What I'm going to do though is I'm still going to use this last knob here, and I'm going to assign that that filter cutoff to this knob so that I can move this while we're in the record screen, hopefully. I'm going to go ahead and add a new destination here for that knob, and I want this to go to a track, or do I want it to go to the mixer? No, yeah, track, and then we're going to find this here. What track? It's the hold on. It's the virus arpeggio. And let's see, I want it's insert 3. Yeah, there it is, frequency. So all I've done is I've assigned this knob now to the frequency of that plugin so that I can access that plugin while we're not on that screen. Fantastic. Okay, so if I, go back into the menu, or rather if I go to the mixer, if I bring up that plugin, we should be able to see now, and we can, yeah, that I'm affecting that knob with this knob. So if I'm in the menu and if I'm in the sampler and if I hit, launch, I can now still filter that while we're in this screen. Hey, all right, work around. So what I want to do is I just want to record an 8-bar, section of this while I am filtering it down. Let's find out like how far down still sounds good. Maybe roll it all the way down to like 333. All right, cool deal. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit record. I'm going to launch the clip and start rolling the filter cutoff down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. Awesome. That's exactly what I am talking about. Now we're going to go ahead and label this accordingly. This is, D major. That is a virus ARP. Whoops. Virus ARP. But it's a filter down. So filter down. Virus ARP filter down. That's in, that's rather at the tempo of 128. So we can't. Okay, so let's just call this virus filter 128. D major, virus ARP filter 128. Do it. That'll work. Keep. Okay, so now we can go ahead and let's see here. The first thing we need to do is we need to unsolo our track, and then we need to get that low-pass filter off of our track entirely so that our virus ARP is back, playing to where it is normally. Now, I just need to, let's see, on note mode, I can load that onto the virus ARP drum sampler channel by, edit, and then choosing the next pad. Now I can find that sample here. Did I label it with the temp? I'm not sure what I called it. I believe it's this one. No, it's an edited one. That's not helping. Bear with me while I find the sound. I believe it's this one here. Yep, virus ARP filter. Cool. So now we just need to, we've got that on the pad. We just need to edit the sample now. So we're going to go menu, sample edit. Cool, there it is. All right. We're going to start trimming this out and getting it right in at the beginning of the sample. Right there at the beginning. Cool. Process and discard. Now we've got that trimmed to be right at the beginning of the sample. That's exactly what we want. And let's save at this time and make sure we get that, recording embedded into the project. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to have that happening here instead of the original ARP, so that it's kind of fading out and giving, more room in the mix to be have sounds introduced in the next pattern. So if we go to this clip that's highlighted now, currently it's playing the, the original sample of that loop, but it doesn't have our, our filter version on it. So let's go ahead and make this first not play in its entirety when I, hold it. So it's like this one here. Let's also make sure that these pads, couldn't possibly play over each other. So when I hit, pad 1, let's make sure that pad 2 mutes. And every time I hit pad 2, let's make sure that pad 1 mutes. So like there's no way they could, interact with each other at this time. Let's see, if I go back, I'm just trying to get to this clip here. Right, and then we need to highlight this note and transpose it up 1 so that it's playing the second pad instead of the first pad. Let's hear this in context in the mix, and we should be hearing, this sound start filtering down now. think that this is a little tiny bit louder than I would like it to be. Let's go ahead and just bring this down like half a decibel. Yeah, and let's go ahead and hear everything now in its complete entirety so that I can see how we're evolving the vibe here. Let's go back to the beginning. Like I said at the beginning of this session, we're going to be doing a lot of just listening to the track, as we continue building it, and that's what we're doing at this time. Here we go. That is a great question, Simon. I don't actually have any experience at all with the arranger mode at this time, and it's definitely something that I need to get into, but I just never have enough hours in the day, and I haven't checked it out yet. I actually have had the Force since it very first came out, and they've only introduced some of those new things a bit more recently, so I sort of got into just using this workflow for quite some time before there was even an arranger mode possible, Yeah, that's too loud still. Okay, that allowed me to really hear where we need to go next with this, which is definitely some sort of a breakdown. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this entire row of clips down to the next row of clips. We've been going for what? 10, 11, are you serious? It's almost 1. We've been going for almost 3. Have we really been going for almost 3 hours, you guys? Thanks for your patience, everyone. It's turning into quite a long session today. All right. Hey, what's happening? Supaju back in the chat. Yeah, so what let's do then is let's create some sort of a breakdown here. Let's start removing some of these drums and whatnot. Yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and get rid of this clip here. Yeah. And I'm curious now if we could potentially take our flute lead that is playing and in this scene, take it away, but replace it with our original lead synth sound. I'm not sure if that will work or not. Let's find out. If I delete it from here. Oh, see, now that's a nice little change up. Let's see how that sounds in context. I actually want to remove some more kicks first, though. If we go, oops, I don't want to do that, but rather this, I can, I want to make this an 8. It's currently a 4-bar loop here, and I want to make it an 8-bar loop because, we're working in 8-bar patterns. So I'm just going to go shift and double. That doubles the length of this clip to an 8-bar clip. And what I want to do is I want to leave the very first kick drum and delete the rest, but I want to leave that little tiny bump bump turnaround at the end. So this is kind of like an 8-bar break now where there won't be any of the original drums at this time, and we've taken our flute lead that was just playing and put it over to our original synth lead sound to kind of, keep that sound in the mix rather than just, keep adding new sounds upon new sounds. Let me go back a few, scenes, and we'll see how this transition is working. Yeah, what we definitely need. Okay, let's see about this. I think we've got our sort of like clap sound just banging away the entire track, just the whole time. It might be nice if we were to remove that in this scene here, as we're kind of trying to break it down to the scene after this is like fully broken down. So let's see here. If I wanna make this clip different, I want to go in here and let's see here. I just want to. I think I just want to remove the claps here. I think I want to leave our shakers and stuff in place. We've got like a snare and a clap. So I'm going to remove, let's see, I'm going to remove this clap. Is it this one here? Shift and delete. It sure is. Okay, this is an awesome, awesome little break here where they've been hearing, that clap for like, quite a bit of time. So we're about to change the lead to a different sound. We're removing the clap. We're giving, lots of different variations so that the listener's ear has something, different to pick up on each of these scenes, and that it keeps their interest hopefully throughout. Get rid of that clap. Yes. Oh, it's such a relief to the ear when that finally goes away, bringing in another, flute again. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So after this break, we're definitely going to want to bring them back in, to a section with a beat. And I was sort of thinking that one of these earlier patterns was sort of like a chorus type of pattern. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it might be this one. It is. That, to me, is like our main melodic melody pattern. So I'm going to consider that our chorus. And I'm going to grab that whole row of samples and I'm going to paste it down here beneath that breakdown we just made. Let's hear that. We would definitely want to put a drum roll coming out of this section though. So let's do that. Up at the top on our drum fills, the very first one is I think the one that I want to use here. So let's grab that, bring it down here, and paste it there. I believe, wait, no. We want to put it there. Let's try that. And I'm just going to go a couple of, boy, I'll tell you, sometimes it's hard to keep everything straight. I usually work in 8 tracks only. This is really the first project that I've, started to really go outside of those boundaries. I'll typically just be working with drum machines and keep loading different samples onto the pads. But for this track, to keep it, as easy to follow as possible, I've gone ahead and, added quite a bit of extra stuff, onto the side. This has been a really fun one to work on. All right, let's hear this a couple of scenes previous, like I said. Like I want, let's see here. Oops, no. Almost, but not quite. Yeah, yeah, I'm feeling like I want the bass to stop there, but not so much that we don't even get a downbeat per se. Um, this is hold on, that's not our bass. Sure looks like it is though. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna delete everything here but the downbeat. Shift and delete. Yeah, and we're gonna get a nice sort of like chilled, resty part before we jam back into this next scene. All right, check this out. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, hold the phone. That's an interesting comment here. Shift plus arrow jumps 8 rows or columns at a time. Shift plus arrow. Ooh, it sure does. That's very handy. So we can go shift and down arrow to get to the... Oh, I love it. I really appreciate all of the tips, Original Synth. I don't, necessarily work with this box. It's like my only box. So some of those little subtleties have escaped me so far. I really appreciate that. Shift and down. Yeah, that's awesome. Fantastic. Let's start again. See where... Oh, wait a minute. I wasn't actually really doing that. We were sort of working on this second section still. Let's go back a few scenes here and see where we're at. Cool. Okay, so if we're going to drop it that much, then we definitely need to build it up a little bit more in that previous section. I think that'll be really easy to do, actually, because I've got these snares that we created 2 weeks ago, and they are on the tops track. These sort of, change in pitch and roll across the speakers by default. Maybe we can use that to create a little bit of like a snare roll. The listener will already, be familiar with these sounds because we used them for a snare roll earlier on in the project. Let's see what we can do here. So I see this is only a 2-bar clip on the tops. So we're going to want to open this clip up and we're going to want to make it an 8-bar clip. So we're going to go shift and double to 4 bars, shift and double to 8 bars. This way it'll give me that, space at the end of the clip to punch in a little bit of a snare roll. And let's see if I can do it by hand right now. Right, just a little bit of a snare roll there to help that transition because we're really going to a pretty big stop after this. What let's also do is maybe do a tiny little bit of a rest on the kick drum pattern at this time. What do I just go over to this track here? Yeah. So this is what the kick is doing. It's only doing a 4-bar pattern, and we needed to do the 8-bar pattern. So we're going to go shift and double, make this into a double length pattern that we can just do a little bit of a turnaround at the end of that last bar. If we pause just a tiny little bit of the kick drum here, maybe just these 2 beats. Come on. While the drum fill is doing its thing, it's going to give, a tiny little bit more space in the mix for that drum fill to exist. Let's go ahead and save at this time. Whoops, I did it wrong again somehow. Let's get back to the matrix and shift and save. Fantastic. All right, and let's hear this in context with the little drum fill in now. Yeah, I like that roll. Let's hear it in context. think one more thing that we want to do is we just want to add the riser to this scene right before that, that big stark transition happens. Actually, this scene, I mean. So to that clip there, we want to add our riser at the very end on the effects track. And I want to add the riser that we sampled today out of the Virus Dark Star. And so that's on the third pad here, and that's a 2-bar riser. I'm just going to sort of extend the end here so that I can see that it's, filling up this much space in my clip. And I got it on the wrong note. There we go. And let's see here. If I'm zoomed in, we got a note here from Original Synth that if I press the upper left, well, that's the arrangement rather, what I want, I guess, would be the clip in that situation, right? Grid. So let's say that I'm zoomed in, right, at the end, and I want to zoom out and see the whole pattern. Is it the grid that I press to do that? Double tap, or is it this one? I'm not sure which one that is. I'll have to revisit that because I'm not doing it right, apparently. Okay. But we've got that that riser in, which is really all that's important here. And let's go ahead and hear that in context before the big drop. Right, I still think that flute is way too loud. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now there should be a drum fill here. Yes! All right. And we're back into what I'm considering the chorus. Okay. Fantastic. What I'd like to do at this point is, I know we've done it quite a few times, and we're probably going to do it a few more before the session is up today, but we're going to go ahead and bring the clock back. And we're going to get, see how we're doing on the actual length of what we've written so far. Oh, that's square. Awesome! Original Synth with the tips today. Oh, thank you, good sir. Boy, I feel those claps are so too loud. This is starting to really flow. Thanks for your patience and your help today, everyone. Starting to sound pretty good. And we're going to go shift and down arrow. All right. In that guitar kind of thing, yeah. Maybe I would have preferred to drop the snare here than on the next one. I think I would have preferred to drop this. Oh no, because the filter. No, I guess here would be better. Okay. It's easy to overthink things. Oh, we got a longer arrangement than I realized, too. All right. Yeah. We're going to hit 3 minutes pretty much. All right. All right, then we're back to the chorus, and we hit 3 minutes. So we're back to the chorus again at 3 minutes. Boy, I'm liking that. What do you guys think a track like this should be? About 4 to 5 minutes? Or is this a track that should be more like 5 to 6 minutes? I'm thinking maybe 4 to 5 minutes on kind of like, a little, sort of happy track like this. It doesn't get deep into the grooves per se, so I'm not sure it needs to be a really long track. Let's see here. We've been going for what? Just about 3 hours. Hey, thanks, Arthur. I appreciate that. Like 5:30. All right. All right. So that gives us a couple more minutes. I think what we would do, I mean, we've been going for about 3 hours today. I'm not sure how long the stream was a couple weeks ago, somewhere between, 2 and 3 hours. So I'd say between the live screen time that we've put in on this track, we're about I don't know about 5 hours of work ish into this. I spent about an hour and a half session during the week, sort of messing with the levels and the EQ and sort of polishing up some of the EQ and some of the rogue frequencies on this one. So that's about another hour and a half. So I'd say we're about really only about 6.5 hours of work into a track. Typically, the tracks that I put out, I'm spending anywhere between about 15 and 20 hours just fleshing those out and putting them together. I'd say we've got quite a bit of work done on this one in only about 6.5 hours time total. I'm not sure whether we want to keep pushing forward today. I mean, it's already a 3 hour stream. When I go back and try to put the timestamps in this, it's already going to, if it's a 3 hour stream, it's going to take me about 5 hours to go through and put these timestamps in. I think this might be a good place to kind of wrap it up for this particular week. But I'm really liking the way that this track is sounding. I really appreciate all the suggestions in the chat as we've been building this today as well. It's really difficult on these live streams to kind of keep, everything around me in check and keep the levels in check, and at the same time, still be super fully creative. So I appreciate, you guys joining in and offering suggestions and tips along the way as well. Yeah, so I definitely a lot of the stuff, that we create on these, live streams, I don't finish. It's just, whatever we create on the stream is just whatever is created. So I think this has been a fun one to flesh out. I definitely want to push forward on this track and get it into a finished state. I mean, we've come so far on it at this point. I think that might be a good stream for either like a bonus day this week or for next Sunday. I don't want to just keep, pushing forward as I'm starting to run a little bit out of steam, I think, after like 3 hours of just, being on. Yeah, cool. I think what we'll do is we're going to wrap it up for this week. We're going to go ahead and play through what we've created for sure one more time. I'm going to let you guys say goodbye to each other in the chat or ask any questions or make any last minute suggestions. And I think we'll be back with this track either on a bonus stream this week or next Sunday. Trying to wrap it up and get it into like a finalized state. I have one track that I wrote a long time ago. I've had the Force literally since it very, very first came out. And I made a track inside of it actually this same kind of way where I did like a lot of live, it wasn't live streams, or it wasn't live streams, it was recorded videos, but I did those like daily back to back. And we did make a full track on the Force that I haven't released is why I'm bringing that up now. And I'm thinking that, if I take the time to flesh this out and finish it, then I've got two tracks that were written and composed, like fully finished tracks that maybe could fit together on an EP. Maybe if I like wrote a third track using just the Force, then I've got like my Force EP. The last EP that I put out, I released music under the moniker Prism Prime. For those of you who don't know, the last EP I put out was called the Black Box EP or something like that, and it's 3 tracks that I wrote using the Digitact only and no outside gear. So that might be kind of a neat thing to like finish this out and then have a second track for like an Akai Force only EP. That could be cool. All right, let's go ahead and take a listen to this again one more time. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me on these live streams. All right. For those of you who've got the Force, it's been so long since I've like tried to write a finished track inside of this box. But I can just export this directly as an Ableton session at this point, right? And get like everything as it is into an Ableton session that I could maybe flesh out if I wanted to, right? I think I'd actually prefer to try to finish it in the box. I'm just kind of, thinking out loud. Oh, yeah. Woo! This isn't really my typical style, but I think it's got a groove. It sort of makes me bop, I love that synthy guitar that we got from the Virus Darkstar. It's funky. Maybe bring in an extra breakbeat here. I don't know. It's so funky. Yeah, that snare going away. That clap and the snare dropping out here. Perfect. Gives all the frequencies back to that flute lead. Definitely, we need a riser. We need a riser on that last, before we call it today. I'm definitely going to add that. That's so apparent to me that it needs to be there. I might as well just take the time to put it there now. Okay, so in this little break here, we're just going to go into the clip for our risers. And rather than using that same riser this time that we sampled from the Darkstar, we'll use the riser that we put in originally. And that's just a 2-bar riser as well. And let's hear that in context. Do a little riser at the end of this now with that drum build. Yeah. Hey, I really appreciate the support, Archer. Thank you very much. All right, fantastic. I really appreciate all of you being here this week, and I really appreciate all of the help as well from those of you in the chat who've been helping me navigate around the box. We're going to go ahead and shift and save this project at this time. All right. Let me just change cameras. So we're definitely going to be back either, as a bonus stream this week, working on this again, or next Sunday. I'm not sure which. We'll just have to see how my energy levels go this week. And I really appreciate all of you hanging out today. I know it's been just over 3 hours now, so another bit of a long one. Um, but I really appreciate, the suggestions and the help and the hangout along the way. So until next time, thanks for watching. All right. Cool deal. Take care of each other, everyone. All right. Cool deal.